What's up? It's your boy Fallen Angel, aka Greg Blackson, here with the last and final Go Big segment for 3 straight G's. UFC 194, McGregor, Aldo with Spillbag Ice, Ariel Kalani. We starting it off. This whole card hard. I'm excited, and he just told me something I didn't know. Let the viewers know.
Interesting little nerd fact here. All the fighters on the main card of UFC 194 at one point or another in their career have main evented a UFC fight card, whether it's a pay-per-view, fight night, fight pass. All the guys on the main card that we're going to go over have main evented a card. That just goes to show you how stacked this card is. One of the best cards, not only of the year, but in UFC history. This is going to be a good fight. This is going to be a good fight card in general right here. One to certainly not miss.
So we starting off with Court McGee and Marcio Alexander Jr. Oh, I remember him like Yodo. Is what they called him on the show. I gotta go with Court McGee. You know, because the dude's called Lyoto because he fights similar, but he ain't no Lyoto Machida. You know, and Court McGee, unlimited endurance, high durability, grinder, wrestler. I think that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna wear this dude out and finish him. I got Court McGee.
Yep.
Court McGee as well, man. I like his story, his background, what he's overcome in his personal life, his demons, and hey, just like him, I'm a fellow man with the beard without the stash either, so definitely gotta go with Court McGee on this one.
Moving
on.
Wait.
Let me. I'm gonna keep my tradition going and give a actual prediction. So I'm gonna say Court McGee, second round submission.
Nice. Ideally though,
I'll be right.
That's a nice pick.
Now we got John Madesi, Yancy Medeiros. You want to start it off since you're talking about Hawaii?
Yeah, man. You know, gotta represent for my Polynesian brothers out there. Yancy Medeiros. I mean, you know, he's part of the guys like Max Holloway coming from the islands. Definitely showing that there's more to us than surf and turf. So I like him as a fighter, and I am rooting for him, you know, from the heart, but my mind is telling me Madesi. This dude went the distance with damn near, a broken jaw against Cowboy Cerrone and still didn't give up, and that's not easy to do whatsoever. So Madesi, I just think, you know, he's such a tough guy to go out there and take on. But again, Yancy, hey brother, love you big time, man, but I think Madesi is definitely going to be able to pull this out and get the victory here.
Yeah, I was never really impressed with Makdessi till that fight. But, you know, I think the fact that he's a tough dude, he's got some skills, but it's just the fact he's a grinder, he's tough, it carries him through a lot of fights. So, it's a tough one to call, but I don't know, man. I'm actually thinking Yancey's going to take it by decision.
Shoots!
I wasn't impressed with Madesi really till that Cowboy fight.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
You know, he took it up a whole new level in that Cowboy fight. And Yancy, I used to train with Yancy. You know what I mean? Help him get ready for some fights. And I asked him to do Trill talk with us, and he was like, I don't know, I might be too busy, bruh. And I'm like, really, dog? And I hope you get ready for fights in the UFC.
Should have dropped my name, man. Really, yo, we got a Hawaiian on the panel with us.
Really, though, man? Wow. You know what I mean? I'm just wanting to be known to everybody. When I get in the UFC, I'm the same ninja. Holla at your boy the same now, and I'm going to answer you back. Ain't nobody going to run my Instagram or Twitter, and ain't nobody I know going to say holla at them when I'm in their town, and I ain't. That's just how I get down, though. You know what I mean? So just for that, I can't even go with Yancy. But no, I'm going to give a real analysis, though. You know, Yancy, he got punched in the stomach by Jim Miller and then got finished that one fight. Then he fought, who was it, Joe Proctor, who I don't really think anything of. And he beat him with that crazy guillotine that him and Nate Diaz got. That's brutal. And then he got swept up by Poirier. Out like bad, you know, and seeing that and knowing that Madesi's a striker too, At first, I wouldn't have been worried, but after seeing the Modesty that fought Cowboy, if he's at that level or higher, I think it's going to be a bad night for Yancey again. So, and I'm going to presume that at worst, Modesty is at that level. But usually after a fight like that, you know, sometimes you go down, sometimes you go up. So it's just a matter of seeing. And I've been listening to his interviews. It doesn't sound like he went down. It seems like he's like, whoa, I came with those guys. So I'm expecting to see an even better version, and I think he's going to get the finish.
And sometimes, man, when you lose, you actually win, and the experience and knowledge that, hey, I can compete with these guys at this level.
Yeah. And he took that late notice too, that Cowboy.
You know what I mean?
So, on to the next one, Joe Proctor, who I just spoke of, versus Magomed Mostaev, and I just said I don't think much of Joe Proctor's skills, so I just got to put it out there now. He's fighting a Dagestani guy who did he fight? PTR Hallman, who's a tough dude, and he put it on him. So I'm going with Magomed, you know, North Caucasus, holla at your boy, I'm all about that Sambo.
Spit.
Yeah, I remember Joe Proctor was doing all right for a while, but he just kind of fizzled out, didn't he?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Russian as well. I don't know, Proctor's tough. I think he'll be able to survive, but I think it'll be a clear-cut decision.
You know, this one right here, I think Proctor's going to have to make sure he stays away from the grappling as far as being grounded. I think Magomed is really going to try to grind him out. He's really going to try to frustrate him, clubber him a little bit with and smother him with the grappling. But this is going to be one of the rare appearances where I got to go against USA. And yeah, I'm going with Magomed as well. I just think he's going to be too tough, and he's going to smother Proctor too much to not allow him to get in his space. He's going to grind out a decision victory here.
So up next we got Leonardo Santos, Kevin Lee. You know, I've trained with Kevin Lee a few times. He's like 12 years old. I don't know, that dude's young.
Yeah.
You know, and he's a big kid to be as young as he is, and well-rounded. And I feel like he's fought the better people in the UFC, because Leonardo Santos, he fought Escudero decision. He got the draw with Norman Park. He finished Tony Martin, who has no ground game really. You know, he hasn't been fighting people as tough as Kevin Lee, and I think that's the biggest difference. Plus, Kevin Lee seems a lot more well-rounded and better conditioned than Santos. So I have Kevin Lee beating Santos by decision.
I got Kevin Lee winning for 3 different reasons. One, he's from Detroit. If you from the Dirty D, I'm already knowing you coming in looking to fight. 2, he's fighting out of Las Vegas, and then, you know, I kind of got to let my black card take over here and go for the brother and whatnot. But then, for the 3rd reason, as you said, I think he's fought the better talent in the UFC, and I think to him, and this is what I'm hoping the whole card kind of feels. I think because of the bright lights and the big stage of the main event of 194, Aldo McGregor, I think it's going to be that extra motivation to say, if there was ever a time for me to come out and show the UFC and the world my skill set and how good I am, this is it. This is the time for me to come out and pull out something I haven't done before, fight harder than I haven't fought before. And I think Kevin Lee is going to be able to do it. Leonardo Santos, though, you know, the competition might be a little bit less. Still a tough guy, though. Still pulling the act. He's got to fight who's in front of him, regardless of how good or not good they are. He's got to fight who's in front of him. So it won't be easy, but I think Kevin Lee's going to pull this out right here.
This is the fight Kevin Lee has to do something.
This is the fight,
If
yeah.
you look, he's young and he's brash and he talks. You know, he's said stuff about outboxing all the guys at Mayweather's, where he comes to train now, ironically. That's gotten him in trouble there. He says a lot of stuff about Sage Northcutt and all these other guys he can beat. That got him in trouble there.
He was on MMA Junkie Radio talking about Sage.
And the fans, he's getting a negative backlash because the fans are like, you're calling out this top 10 guy, you're calling out this top 15 guy, you're calling out this guy, you're saying you got to box these guys, but you're on this winning streak, and it's all decisions except for the last one. He finished Mutasi. They're like, you can't be calling all these guys out and you're finding the lower level guys decisioning them. If you're going to say all this shit that you're saying, where you'll finish it at. So it's been getting negative backlash. The way I look at it is, and I tell you, being a fighter, it's very, very hard to finish people.
Fans don't realize that.
They don't.
Fans don't realize how hard it is to get a finish.
No, they don't. I've always prided myself on finishing people in kickboxing, boxing, everything, because people don't realize how hard it is. These people are training specifically to whoop your ass, into your weaknesses for X amount of time as you are theirs. It's hard. So I don't look at it like he's getting a decision. I just look at it like he's on what 4 or 5 fight win streak in the UFC. That's good. That's
and
hard
at the
to
end of
do.
the day, winning is winning.
Yeah, winning is
You know what I
winning.
mean?
That's hard. That's hard. So I'm going with Kevin Lee.
I don't know, man. You know, hanging with Park is a tough dude.
Yeah, you right.
Oh man,
He's tough, man. Look,
You
come
don't
on,
think
man.
he's
He's not the toughest of the tough, but come on, man. He is a tough
Man,
dude.
I don't think, you know what, I don't think he has anywhere near the skill of the hype people are putting on him.
Well,
And I've always watched him like, he's like, I'm a striker, I'm Irish. And I'm watching, I'm like, man, that striking ain't that clean, dude.
That remains to be seen. But
But
still,
he's
go
solid.
ahead.
He's solid.
Yeah, I give him
I mean,
that.
I'm not saying
he ain't no wimp.
he's not a future champ,
He ain't no
but
wimp.
he's
yeah.
a tough dude. He's hard to finish, and he's, you know, so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think if it's going to be a finish, I think Kevin Lee will do it. If it's a decision, I'm leaning towards Santos. But yeah, I'll give it to Kevin Lee based on momentum.
I don't. So Kevin Lee across the board, it sounds like? Yeah. Across the board, let's go.
Next we got Warley Alves, Chael Sonnen's homie from the show. He was big on them. Versus Kobe Covington.
Both the guys are undefeated. Combined, they're 18 and 0. Somebody's always got to go.
You know what, Kobe Covington, now I think about it, he's that dude that got in the UFC at like 5-0 because he was roommates with John Jones or something. Man, I'm hating.
Well, if he got in at 5 and 0, and now he's 8 and 0, he's proven why he should have been in the UFC to be 3 and 0.
No, man, here's what my thing is. These wrestlers, these refs, and I'm going back to this Pancrase match I had, they just let people grab you and not do anything. To me, that's not fighting. And when I watch Kobe Covington, man, except for his last match, he just be honing on people, and I don't like that. Conversely, Warley, you know, he has big power in his hands, big power in his kicks, good cardio, good takedown defense. You know what I mean? He actually fights, so I'm all about that. I'm going with Warley. That's what I'm going with right there.
Alves, 3rd round TKO, KO by a knee.
Gotta bring it back to the home team. Go for America in this one. Kobe Covington, come on, let's bring it home for good old USA. Let's go ahead.
What's next? Tisha Torres, Jocelyn Jones, Larbiger. Go, Spill. You take it with the ladies, my polite friend.
I've seen a lot more of
Wait, I gotta cut you off.
What?
Where the hell is her stuff at?
Nothing. There's nothing.
Why
there.
is she a ghost?
I've seen her in.
Why are they doing this?
I don't know, man.
Somebody needs to step it up at the UFC.
Especially the mobile site. It's really.
She don't even exist. She's just a name.
She's fought in Invicta.
She's fighting RFA too. She
Yeah.
beat Zoila Frosto for the belt.
Oh, so finish with what you got.
I don't know. I think Tisha has more of that higher level UFC experience, so I'm gonna give her the slight edge.
I'm going for Tisha Torres in this one too. I watched her.
Tornado.
She's tough. You know, she's not an easy win. She doesn't back down. And not for the lack of information on Jocelyn here, I just think Tisha Torres is just, you know, she's a different animal than her, and she'll pick up this victory and moving on. And would it be next at the 115? Maybe the winner of Paige and Nama Nunez? Possibly. I don't know. We shall see. I got Torres though.
I'm going for the upset. Jocelyn, you know, RFA, she won the belt before she came here. She beat Zoila Frosto, who's a kickboxing girl, legitimate kickboxing. You know, I know her trainer, all that. And she put the works on her. The works. She put them little cat paws on her all in the match. And I was like, this girl's boxing is good. Technically, I think her boxing is better than a lot of the guys in MMA. You know, and I'm like, whoa, and she had unlimited cardio. And she was like Von Zant level aggressive, but not sloppy. She was calculated in all her attacks, and she had good cardio, and she consistently just put it on Zoila. And Zoila's one of the biggest girls at that weight, you know, and I'm like, God damn, she doing it like this. And I actually think it was a weight class up from this where she did that. So Zoila was even that much bigger than her, and she still put it on her. So I'm going for the upset with Jocelyn Batista. You know what I mean? I love you, Time Tornado. I'm always with you, but this time I gotta break it down honestly. You know what I mean? I break it down honestly. I'll let your boy follow me on Twitter. So now we're going for Uriah Faber, Frankie Saenz.
This could be Faber's last leg to stand on in the UFC as far as if he wants to get back into the title picture, so to speak. This might be his last chance to pick up a victory and to try to build that momentum towards it. You know, for Faber for such a long time, he was a face of the WEC, the California kid, one of the true pioneers for MMA in Northern California at that time at a big level.
So it used to be him and King Yamamoto. You remember that? For
years.
I mean, everybody wanted those two. They were the pinnacle.
It was, you know, being from the Bay Area, man, that's who we look to as far as saying, yo, we got some guys up here in Northern California that could scrap as well in the case. So definitely, there's always going to be a place there for me cheering for for Uriah Faber, excuse me. You know, Frankie, I mean, he's a tough guy. You know, he's not necessarily tough in the sense of, you know, if he wins, he's going to start going towards the title picture. But he's a guy that theoretically he might be able to stop Uriah Faber, and in some cases might put Faber out of the UFC on this one. But I am going for the California kid. I just think he's got too much pizzazz, too much experience, and I just think he's going to find a way to utilize his unorthodox striking to come in, grapple, and either get a guillotine or a rear naked choke. I'm looking for second round submission.
I'm with you too. I know Uriah, you know, before he even started fighting, you know what I mean? And
if you know him that long, you should have got him on the show.
Man, you would think, but these dudes be getting in the UFC and be switching up, man.
About folks, huh?
They be switching plates, man. Like if the cops out there, you know what I mean? Like you're taking it to the chop shop, you know that. So I don't know.
Ryan, we're gonna try to get you on the show at one point in time, brother. We're gonna try to get you on.
I have him winning by finish 2 guillotine or rear naked for the same way. And the thing is, the one thing I disagree with you though, I don't feel like he's on his last leg. If you look at Uriah, he would beat everybody, get to the champ, lose. Beat everybody, get to the champ, lose. Beat everybody, get to the champ, lose. And the only person I can think of him losing to, not a champion in my mind, is Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, but how many times do you give Uriah that chance at the title? It's kind of like Kenny Florian. He can only move down so many classes where you give him a title shot. At some point, you got to say, dude, that's enough. Unless you can pull off 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row, that's enough.
You know what? But the thing is, it's a sport, so you can never really say that's enough even if you want to. And the thing about Uriah is, from the way his history is showing, he could probably pull off that 5, 6, 7 because he's not losing to anybody but the champions and Frankie Edgar.
Who's a former champion.
I would be interested to see how he does against any of the top 3 guys in the divisions. I think they might have his number considering who they are on the list. But still, my man.
I was pretty much going to say what Greg Blackson said, that Uriah, he's always wins unless he's fighting either the champ or the former champ. So I think, you know, he's still up there. I think the sport has progressed a little beyond him, beyond his reach for championship, but he's still a hell of a great fighter. So
yeah, he's right there. It ain't like these champs just beat the crap out. He's right there.
Let me ask you guys this without extending it too long. Let's say Uriah can't beat the champ, or he can't beat the top 2, top 3 guys. If you're the UFC, do you still keep him around for name value to put on prelims, fight night cards to say, hey, maybe we don't give you the top 3 or the title shot, but we'll still keep you around because we know fans are going to still watch you fight? Would you do that if you're the UFC and just keep him around for namesake?
There's plenty of fighters like that.
Yeah, and the thing is, if let's say you're right there about to be that champ, Uriah got to be the guy you get through. You know, sometimes
like a gatekeeper.
Sometimes like right a little bit past the gatekeeper. You know, I look at gatekeeper as like the middle guy. Uriah would have a little bit. I would look at him like Goro or something. You know what I mean? Before you fight, like Shang Tsung, you got to get through that guy to do it, and he will always be a guy like that.
If you go to church, he's not the guy that opens the door. He's the usher that brings you to your seat.
Yeah. So we all got Uriah. Next fight, You starting this off with Hawaiian Max Holloway versus Jeremy Stephens.
Jeremy Stephens, man, oh man, is this an exciting fight to watch, man. That standing flying knee that he did in his fight at 189, I believe.
Ronnie, who did he fight? Ronnie Torres?
Was it Torres? I think it was Torres. I think it was Torres that he fought. But he hit a flying knee, I think it was like in the 4th round. Man, oh man, Jeremy Stephens, he's just one of those guys, exciting to watch, well-rounded, tough. He's one of those guys to where you really got to be on your A game that day to beat him. But you do got the Hawaiian Stallion, Max Holloway. Bruh, bring it home and give him some dirty lickings. Afterwards, we'll get some zippies or some L&L. What's up? Max Holloway, though, ever since the Conor McGregor loss, he's been on a roll. You know, and that was a bump in the road for him. But the good thing for him is, look where Conor has gone now. So that loss doesn't look as bad considering where Conor was now. If Conor would have faltered and started losing 3 in a row or whatever, it would have looked pretty bad for Max Holloway.
He's the only one
that went decision. Now to give him credit, to give credit though, that is the fight where McGregor tore up his knee.
But a lot of people don't know Max Holloway got 2 injuries in the first.
No. Look, you go into any fight, you're going to be injured and whatnot. You're rarely ever going to come out unscathed unless it's 16
They both got
seconds.
injured first round.
But for Max Holloway though, I like the momentum that he's on. I'm very curious with his punching power, is it going to be enough to stop Jeremy Stephens? Because Stephens, we've seen, kind of like Forrest Griffin, he will take a punch and keep coming at you like a Terminator. So how's that going to go? But I got to go with my island, brother. Max Holloway, bring it home, man. Like I said, we'll get some zippies. We'll get a zipper or surf pack, man. Let's do it.
I'm with Holloway. I'm with you, too. As far as striking, he's one of the cleanest strikers in the division. You know, I wish he would use his kicks more, though. He has good kicks.
Yeah.
But his head to body work with those punches is beautiful. And, you know, the way everybody is big on Cub Swanson as a boxer, I personally don't think he has the best technical boxing, but he is dangerous with his hands. And Max Holloway just picked him apart, man.
Easy.
Broke his jaw. Cub Swanson, what is he made out of? Why does he? I was just watching something on the UFC
Liquid metal,
show, and he had 5,000 broken bones. I'm like,
He's like Jackie
he
Chan.
should just have unlimited motherfucking medical coverage. Like, just, the doctors need to be in there with him. I don't know who's going to, but Max Holloway broke his jaw, everything. So Max Holloway, he got the works. One thing about Stephens is, I noticed he slows down because he puts everything in every punch, and I feel that's going to cost him in this fight with Max Holloway. And I actually think Max is going to get the finish. I feel he's the better striker, the better cardio, the better footwork, the better timing, and the better range. So it's kind of like boxer brawler, you know, and I feel he's going to box the brawler to a finish. Probably by submission, actually. Hurt him in the middle.
Spill?
Exactly. Max Holloway is going to destroy Jeremy Stephens.
I like it. Destroy.
Just pick him apart. Wait till he gets, like Dom said, wait till he gets tired, tires himself out. Just superior striking. Stay out of range of those, you know, big haymakers. And by the 3rd round, I think he's going to be primed to get tagged with something, stunned, and submitted.
I want to know why I saw a backstage video of Jeremy Stephens fighting Melvin Gillard, and they were about to walk out to the goddamn arena, and he was screaming at him, "I'm coming for you, boy. I got you, boy." Ever since then, I can't go for Jeremy Stephens. You can't be running around calling no African American boy over and over.
Boy is a discriminative word.
You can't.
You
do
know,
that.
I don't know.
It's a great word.
He doesn't strike me as very bright, so I'll just leave it at that.
He is a heathen, a little heathen. So we all going for the Hawaiian. On to the next. Damian Maia, Gunnar Nelson. Started off, Spill.
What? Why me?
Guys.
We have to look at the pictures. Oh yeah, those guys. You know, Damian Maia, he's so inconsistent, man. It's like sometimes you're just like, you know, he puts on this performance that you're like, holy shit, Damian Maia, man. And then other times he's just, you know, boring as shit. Doesn't seem to like have it all together, and you're like, ah. So, I don't know. Depends on which Damian Maia shows up. But the thing is, you know, he does have those submission skills are never going to go away. So, comes like if it turns into a grappling match, which it might, very well might, I'm going to have to give it to Damian Maia.
Now, to go off that,
Yeah.
it's going what I was going to say. Damian Maia is one of the best grapplers in the world, not just in MMA, in the world. Gunnar Nelson is pretty damn good as well. He's won some grappling tournaments. And when I say won, gold, silver maybe. He's pretty good as well. Maybe not as accomplished yet as Damian Maia, but he's a guy who definitely, if he goes to the ground, it won't be like when Neil Magny fought Damian Maia, where he's out of his element. He'll be comfortable down there. How will he fare? We shall see. But I think because they're both so good at grappling, it might, I'm hoping, it neutralizes each other and they both just stand up with each other. Maia's been trying to improve his striking game. We know with Gunnar Nelson training with Conor McGregor, we know that he's working on his striking game to match his grappling game as well. I like Gunnar Nelson. I think there's going to be something in the air for 194 where it's going to be the luck of the Irish. And Gunnar Nelson, I think, is going to come out there trying to fight for the pride of his nation that's going to be there cheering. And don't get me wrong, Maia's going to have his Brazilian fans there as well. This is going to be a pretty good matchup, and I'm curious to see how this goes out, but I'm going with Gunnar Nelson.
I just want to tell you he's from Iceland, homie.
Yeah, but he trains.
I know SBG.
He's from Iceland, but he trains with them, so they're going to accept him
I know
as
what you mean,
brother, man.
I'm saying, here's my thing. I agree with you, Gunnar Nelson. You know, I remember when he first started doing grappling competitions, he went against, I think it was Jeff Monson in Absolute and beat him as a young
Jeff
kid.
Monson is a good.
Yeah,
good
and
grappler.
way bigger. So the way I look at it is Damian Maia is the more accomplished grappler in the sense of doing more competition, but I don't feel he's the better jiu-jitsu guy in MMA because you look at a lot of people and he didn't submit Ryan LaFleur. He didn't submit Neil Magny, did he?
Did he submit? I thought he ended up
Did he
submitting.
end up catching him at the very end? All I remember is in that match, Neil Magny was giving him a lot more trouble defensively on the ground than I ever imagined he would. Because it's not like Neil Magny is the best jiu-jitsu guy out there.
Well, Maia is 38 years old.
And-
Let's not forget about that. I mean, it's not like he's a spring chicken out there.
The thing is, that going off of what Spill said, I agree in a sense, but like Spill said, it depends on which Damian Maia. But the way I feel is the Damian Maia that dominated John Fitch, who I used to train with, I was like, holy shit, he's out wrestling Fitch and doing this to him. I never saw that Damian Maia again after that match. And I feel he went down to a certain point that he's never gotten above. And now I watch him, it's not even like watching a mixed martial artist. It's like watching a gi positional jiu-jitsu player on top of these guys. Like Gunnar Nelson is dynamic and looks like a no-gi guy, like fast-paced, going for the submissions and the transitions and everything. And I feel like, and Damian Maia gets tired every fight. You remember when he fought Rory McDonald? He just looked like he was going into cardiac arrest.
Rory
He
does that.
did, by the way, he did sub Neil Magny.
Yeah, he
just
made Neil
round.
Magny look like a rookie up there almost.
He looks like,
So who you picking?
I'm going Gunnar Nelson. He has better cardio. I like his karate style of attack. And I like how he looks, his jiu-jitsu for MMA, it's more transitional. So I'm going with Gunnar Nelson.
Gunnar? Get her done.
Well, I said Damian Maia, but
He did say
making a
Damian
good-
Maia, man.
Good case. Plus, I actually think
So
Nelson
he
is
made
a
a
lot
good
stronger.
Oh, only he made a good case. Okay, I got it.
Well, I just
Only
want to
that
know
makes
those
good
damn
cases.
powerlifters.
Yeah.
So now we gotta go next one. Jacare, and I'm so sorry, Yoel Romero.
Jesus.
No forget Jesus.
Don't forget Jesus. Man, I don't know. If we had a quarter, I'll flip it 100 times. I would not know. This matchup, Jacare is just like Maia, one of the best grapplers in the world. Not just MMA, but in the world. And he's improving on his striking. And one thing about Jacare, he's got a nice way of mixing his strikes that will lead into grappling. You know, sometimes guys who are grapplers just look for the grappling, but he's got a good way of throwing strikes at you, getting you to defend, and then when you do, bam, I'm gonna grab you. When he grabs a hold of you, man, that's it. But Yoel Romero, one of the best, if not the best wrestler in MMA right now, depending who you ask, that's gonna be interesting. How
beat
his
Chael
wrestling-
Sanderson
You know what I'm
twice.
saying?
Yeah.
And that's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. how was his wrestling neutralized Jacare's grappling? And then with Romero, he's got power. I mean, the dude being his age, when he's 39, dude looks like an amateur bodybuilder though, you know? So with his power and his striking, will he be able to tag Jacare and be able to maybe startle him a little bit and use the wrestling to neutralize the grappling and maybe beat him with striking? I really don't know about this one. I'll flip it, yes, but right now, I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards Romero. But trust me, I would not be surprised if Jacare could pull off a damn leg lock or a quick armbar or something and get the submission. This right here, this is the fight we've been waiting for, and I think both of these guys are really going to put on a good fight because it's been a while since they've been trying to fight each other.
Yeah.
Romero and Jacare, this might be one of the fight of the night.
I'm excited for that match too. I have Jacare winning. I remember when he grappled Randy Couture in an ex-grappling match, and Randy Couture couldn't take him down. And I remember after the match, he said, this guy has one of the best base and one of the strongest people I've ever went against, pound for pound. And I've wrestled the best in the world. And that's Randy Couture.
That's Captain America.
Yeah. You know, heavyweight, light heavyweight, you know, champion. And for him to say that,
Just
and he wrestled on an Olympic level, yeah, and Jacare has gotten better since then. That was years ago, you know.
Yeah.
And Jacare, you know, Yoel's a southpaw, and Jacare has that big right hand, and he has great transitional wrestling. And Yoel has gotten taken down before in matches, you know. And I feel like if Jacare gets on top, unlike Maya, Jacare's jiu-jitsu, I feel, transferred over to MMA much better.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you look at his record, the submission ratio shows that. And I feel like if he gets on top of him, man, that could be a wrap.
It could be. Look, I'm leaning towards Romero, but trust me, I'm not saying it's going to be a landslide.
Yeah.
This is going
to be a fight
tonight.
It's going to be a fight, but I'm going for Jacare for those reasons.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Jacare just because I think like he's fast and crafty. Like you'll just it'll be like it's all over, and then you'll be like, wait, what happened? You have to watch a replay.
Yeah,
like how did he catch that? So yeah, I think as much as Romero has going for him, which is a lot, I just see Jacare somehow finding that opening and catching him.
Now moving on, another fight I'm looking forward to. Not Captain America, but the All-American, Chris Weidman versus Luke Rockhold. Started off, Spill.
God damn it, really?
Yes, really. Let's get Jesus.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's hard to pick against a guy who beat Anderson Silva twice. And is undefeated.
Yeah.
As much as, but Rockhold is no joke, man. So, he's big, he's got a reach, he's well-rounded, good striker. So, could be like a Holly Holm Ronda Rousey thing where you could see an upset that everybody in hindsight will go, oh, yeah, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's like I said, I have to go with Weidman just because, really beat Anderson Silva twice, undefeated, tough guy, wrestler, well-rounded, submissions, good striking. So on the striking, I think Rockhold has the advantage, but I think Weidman can take it anywhere he wants.
Yeah, this match is compelling to me, and I'm looking at, when I'm thinking about this match, Weidman's a big guy too.
Yeah.
I think Weidman and Rockhold are the two biggest in that division, but everybody's like, oh,
Rockhold's taller though, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, Weidman has the longer reach.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
He has freaky reach. He has the longer reach. That's what one of the things Anderson said he fucked him up in the first match. His reach is
he would know.
Long.
Yeah, if anybody
The thing is,
knows.
Weidman, what's going to be interesting is this. Weidman is good at getting people down heavy on top, but I remember when Rockhold fought Jacare in Strikeforce, Jacare did get him down over and over and over, but he kept getting up over and over and over. So I'm wondering, is this going to hold true when Weidman gets him down, or is Weidman that much better of a wrestler that he's going to be able to down and keep him down? And then when it's on the ground, I'm interested because Luke Rockhold, even back in the days, a lot of people don't know he used to do jiu-jitsu tournaments in Northern Cali, you know.
Yeah.
You from there, and he used to dominate.
Yeah.
But then you hear about Weidman being a jiu-jitsu prodigy too. And I think Weidman
Training
might
with
have
Master.
that edge there because when you mix jiu-jitsu with high-level wrestling, you get a whole different kind of jiu-jitsu.
That's
So I
my
feel
view.
like he might have a slight edge there. And I just feel like Rockhold's the more versatile striker. He moves more and everything. But I feel like when it gets, Weidman's going to, and I'm saying this because of the Lyoto match, he did something that I rarely see an MMA fighter do. He didn't walk down Lyoto, he cut him off. And I feel like Lyoto is harder to cut off than Rockhold. So if he cut off Lyoto, he could cut off Rockhold. And that's going to make Rockhold have to fight him. He's going to take away the range, it's going to take away the footwork, it's going to put his back to the cage and make him fight him. And Rockhold, I mean, Weidman is proven, hey, he'll sit there in that dogfight. And he has a fucking chin. And I don't feel that that's Rockhold fights the way he fights for a reason. And I don't think that when he gets put in the shitter and he has to just sit there in the pocket and try, I think that's not where he excels. And I think that's what's gonna, I think Weidman's gonna actually finish him. But I think it's gonna be a hell of a fight.
Again, this is another potential fight of the night matchup right here. You got two Americans. This is your classic East Coast versus West Coast right here. Strong Island, New York, Santa Cruz, California.
Two great camps too.
Very, very good camps. Ray Longo, AKA, and you know, you talk about Jocko Ray taking him down. Well, you also got to look at it. Now he's been training with Cormier, Velasquez, Nagamayo, so he's probably gotten better at that as well.
Yeah.
So, and one of the things I found interesting was in already embedded Weidman, man. You know, Weidman, you know, even though he's a New York guy, so he's kind of got that little East Coast attitude to him. He says something that just made me say, oh shit, man, this dude is on a different level. When he said he can't imagine coming home and his son is not going to look at him as the champ anymore, and he's going to be calling Luke Rockhold the champ. I can't go through life knowing I lost and my son is calling somebody else the champ. You could go through your life, Luke, if you lose the Weidman. I can't. When he said that, I said, mine.
You have to be sold on that.
Dude, like, what the hell, man? And look, I love Luke Rockhold's game. I love the fact that he's kind of, in a way, he kind of reminds me of like of a young American style of Anderson Silva. You know, he's not overly aggressive, but he's not too counter-ish too. He moves around a lot. He throws those kicks at you with the left, but then he'll also mix it up with some punches. And then if he gets you down and hurt, he's shown against Tim Boach or Michael Bisping, dude, or Lyoto Machida, he's got submissions that'll take you down. One thing I find that's going to be interesting is, and you brought the Machida fight with Weidman, Machida moves around a lot, but let's also be honest, Machida's got a lot of he's got a lot of miles on them tires. He's got a lot of miles, and Weidman took Machida's heart, unlike anybody else that we've ever seen. So that's going to be interesting. Can he do that to Rockhold? I think with Rockhold, with his style of striking, it's not so much a one-punch power, but it's more so timing and accuracy and placement. And with Weidman, we all know he likes to kind of bull rush. Not Ronda Rousey-ish, but he does like to come forward. And he does have a chin. But he also, you know, your chin only takes so many punches and kicks and knees, etc., etc. If this goes to the ground, like you said, with Weidman's wrestling and improving on his jiu-jitsu with Matt Serra, I wonder how's that going to work against Rockhold's jiu-jitsu and his wrestling. This really is another fight. This guy.
You know what?
This guy. But I gotta keep it from Northern California, the Bay Area, like my tag says. Luke Rockhold in this one by decision. Luke, bring it home to the Bay, man. We need that title. Bring it home back to the West Coast. But trust me, I'm not even gonna call this Luke Rockhold versus Chris Weidman. I'm gonna call this Luke Rockhold Weidman 1.
You know what?
I think it's gonna be a trick.
Here's the thing, two things to consider. Chris Weidman also said something else in that embedded, and you said, Luke's never talked this much before a fight. It's almost like he's trying to convince himself of these things. And now when I read the Luke Rockhold interviews, I agree with him, because he's like, I'm gonna out wrestle him. I'm gonna toss him around. I'm gonna throw him. I'm gonna do this and that. And I'm like, nobody in their right mind could really think you're just gonna go out there and toss Weidman around. And when you're saying something that's just not realistic like that to me, you're trying to boost your own confidence.
Doesn't that sound awfully familiar when Anderson Silva took on another American wrestler, and this American wrestler said, he's a legend, he's good, he ain't gonna beat me. When I tag him, when I grab him, I'm gonna put him down. You're just trying to hype yourself up. You don't know what you're talking about. You're from Strong Island. You're just whatever. And what did he do? I'm just saying.
Well, I thought you were talking about Trill.
That was another guy, but no. Whiteman did the same thing when he fought Anderson.
You know, here's another point.
So
Rocco's biggest win is Lyoto, but I feel he fought a lesser Lyoto than the one Whiteman fought.
Technically, yeah, because it came afterwards.
If you look after Whiteman, Lyoto's never looked the same since then.
That's true.
And that's his biggest win.
But Rocco got the finish on Machida, where Whiteman did it. Granted, he didn't look the same. Still got the finish.
Hey, he elbowed him in the back of his fucking head. Get the fuck out of here. He hit the Vitor Belfort. You know that's true. Have you ever been hit in the back of your head?
Coming.
Many a time.
Yeah. Well, you got a big ass head.
Hey,
we got a little normal
I ain't the only one with a big ass head on this set. Right?
So we got Wyman,
Rocco, Northern California, Bay.
main event. It gotta have its own segment on YouTube and Fight Live TV. That's how large this is. I've never been this excited for a UFC match.
I got goosebumps. Goosebumps.
Ever. Jose on. I'm not saying Jose. I'm not. It's Jose to me. I'm not with that Jose. Scarface Aldo, the notorious one, Conor McGregor.
There's only one.
How excited are you guys for this match?
I'm like a fat kid in a candy store. I'm already a fat kid. I just wish I was in a candy store.
You know what? I'm happy that, you know what? I'm actually happy it didn't happen the first time. Both guys were injured, and now I feel like I'm getting an early Christmas present.
You know what I mean?
Because it's in December.
Exactly, man. This is awesome. This is awesome, man. If you've never watched MMA before, which of course you have because you're watching the show, but if you haven't, or if you know somebody that hasn't, this is the fight and the card to watch to get them hooked on it.
Especially this main event.
I mean, come on now. This is going to deliver.
Something spectacular will happen.
So let me ask, just to start off, who sees a finish in this match? I see somebody getting finished.
Right here, yes.
I see somebody getting finished.
That's why I say spectacular.
You know, it's going to be a hell of a fight.
I mean, this is going to be a war.
And that's the thing, if someone doesn't get finished, it's gonna be like, you know,
like Mark Hunt, Pazau or something.
Yeah,
I don't mind it going
or like Shogun Henderson.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. You know, I might just
This is going to be
pass out.
This is going to be like Robbie Lawler and Roy McDonald, man. It's going to go down as one of the all-time greats.
You know, it's going to either be like that or a fast finish.
Or
if it isn't a fast finish, we getting a war like King Kong Godzilla going on. I actually want that. You know, Jose Aldo, I have his entire career on tape upstairs in the Greg Blackson Library before anybody knew about this dude, and I've always been a fan. And the funny thing is, you see guys progress over time. Like first they look like shit, start getting better. It's funny, from the first fight I seen of this guy, he looked good and kept getting better and looked great. He didn't look like shit. Like when I look at myself, start fighting, I'm like, damn, I look like shit. God damn. And then I started getting a little bit better. And you see this with other guys. This guy looked good from jump. And then when I see, conversely, I've seen Conor McGregor since his second fight ever, and he looked, and then he started getting better. You know, and I think Conor is a result of a mind making him apply things better, and Aldo is just a type of athleticism. He's just bred for fighting.
Physical.
Yeah, and he's been that good. So now the mind brought his physical up to match the physical of this guy, and it's just like a fight of epic proportions, man.
And this is something that if you was writing a comic book or to write in a movie, I mean, this would be perfect. Jose Aldo coming from the streets of Brazil, where at one point in time, man, he didn't have enough for food, eating out of trash cans, and now he is the 10 years undefeated, one of the pound for pound #1 fighter in the world right now, and the only UFC featherweight champion in history. Conor McGregor, coming from Ireland, a guy that just grew up and said, hey, fighting is in my blood, got into the sport. First it was boxing, but then he really liked the whole aspect of grappling and all that. Went into that, and like how you said, kind of a mind thing to where he said, I'm the baddest thing walking this planet, and I'm going to let everybody know that I'm going to show them. This is a fight. I mean, you couldn't write it any better for this to work out. These are natural born enemies. honestly, in some aspects, I hope that this becomes a trilogy. I hope that they fight at 45, and then when they eventually both move up to 55, fight there again. Because these guys, it's a match made in heaven. This is Superman, Lex Luthor, Batman, Joker. What side do you take? Hell, I don't know. I just want to see a damn good fight. Spill, lay something on this, man.
As far as a prediction?
No. Just your overall thoughts about how this all came together between Aldo and McGregor.
I don't know. You guys put it pretty well. I like what you said about how Conor is, the intellect. How it's and Jose is more, he's just an athletic, amazing athlete. That's what I find so compelling about it, and I think most people do is You look at Conor's record, he does not have that track record that Jose Aldo has by any stretch. But you look at how he's won, the fights he's won, so convincingly, and not by sort of getting any lucky thing. He's a very analytical fighter, and he was able to always find that moment, that weakness, whatever, on the fly in fights, and pick his opponent apart. Can he do that to a guy like Jose Aldo?
Back to the analytical part of him and the mental part. I listened to Conor, and it's crazy. He said he was going to take Poirier out in the first round. Took him out in the first round. He said he would take Silver out at the end of the first round or the beginning of the second. He took him out the second. He said he would take Chad Mendes out second. He took him out second. And then it's funny, he was like, oh, I'm going to butcher his body, and he's going to be sucking for wind, and I'll butcher him from the bottom and finish him in the second. And if you look, he was kicking Chad in the stomach, and Chad was tired. And then he was on the bottom, and he was hitting him with the elbows. He did finish him in the second round. And everybody can say, oh, Chad had 2 weeks this, Chad had 2 weeks that. I don't go for the bullshit, because here it is. You guys always hear me. People can take it as cocky, whatever. I say, call me anytime. I'm in shape. Right. And my fights prove, you call me anytime. I fight UFC guys 32 hours notice, and I do medicals, and cut 28 pounds, and outwork them. I was in shape. I remember leading up to that fight, Chad Mendes and them was like, alpha male, we're always training, we're always in shape. Yeah. And then when you lose, you want to sit there and say, well, I only had 2 weeks notice. As a fucking man, you stick to your word. Don't change it after you lose. Yeah. And on top of that, he had a knee torn to shreds. And he still took the fight, and he's not using that excuse for anything, for his performance or anything. You can't sit there and backtrack.
He probably wouldn't have made that known if the UFC didn't say that we need to put him on the sideline for a little bit. He probably would have just kept that to himself about his knee.
And the thing is, he when he says I predict these things, he really is. And he makes me really, he's either hyper analytical in a way we can't see, or this guy is really showing that, the act of putting things in the universe and then coming back. It's a real thing, maybe a combination of both. When I see that 2008 interview, and he said that he wants to be in the UFC, he's going to be champ, and he wants more money than he has to know what to do with. And now that's fucking happened.
Yeah.
It's crazy the level he's saying these things on. And I remember, a lot of people missed this one about him. There was an interview where Chad Mendes, the second fight with Jose Aldo, Jose and Chad were standing like this, just standing at each other, and neither one was doing anything. It was about the third round, if my memory serves me correct. And Conor, he was on full blast, analyzing that fight, and he said, that can never happen with me. And he was like, nobody can sit in front of me like that and not do anything with their head not moving. I will take it off.
Right.
And if you look at his style, that's true. You can't just sit directly in front of this guy. He's 5'9" like me with a 74-inch reach. And I don't know if you guys know, reach and stuff, 74 usually is about 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah,
so him and I both have long reach. And he knows how to use it, and he's accurate. You can't sit in front of him like that. For Jose to make a mistake like that, I feel it can cause him by knockout. Because if you look at Conor's record, he's knocked out everybody but one person for his entire career. Yeah. That's like Melvin Manoff-ish right there.
He's got that boxing background.
Yeah.
Where, he learned how to really sit on his punches. And one thing about him, again, he doesn't do the big wind-ups. He doesn't do the big hooks. But he knows when to throw that straight left, time it perfectly, and kind of like Anderson Silva in a way, to where he's just going to look for that one opening and just yak you one good time.
You know what? He has good follow-up combination.
He does.
Marcus Brimage, he hurt him with the right uppercut, leaned off, hit him with the right uppercut, went over the top, and went back under him, and then changed angles and finished him from a hole. He started here, and when he finished him, he cut angles and finished him. He shifted to another angle and finished him. That's boxing footwork.
Now we talking all this about Conor.
Well, let me just say this,
Go ahead.
Based off of what you're saying. That's the reason when people go, well, who has he beat? I go like, aren't you seeing how he's beating these people? I mean, no, he hasn't beat the top level guys to that. And people, I was saying this way before like 3 fights ago when he fought Dustin Poirier. I was like, look at how he's beating.
But why are people even saying that? Poirier's a top guy. Look at Holloway right now. We're talking about Holloway like this.
Fight.
But even now,
before the Poirier fight,
that.
they're like, oh no, he's not. And I'm like, you're not seeing how he's winning these fights. And the same thing with the Poirier fight. Like this guy he finds that it's just so technical and so accurate, and he finds that moment. I just don't get that. What other than just people being haters.
Now we talk about.
They're not acknowledging his skill.
Now we talk about Conor.
Right.
Let's also realize there's somebody else on the other side of that cage.
Absolutely.
Somebody who's undefeated for 10 years. Mm-hmm. Somebody who only has 1 loss on his record, now in the UFC. Somebody whose leg kicks. When I just look at the highlights and make my legs just, oh my God, please don't ever kick me. He damn near broke Uriah Faber's leg when they fought. This dude finished Cub Swanson with a flying double knee. He did a Superman punch almost off the cage against Frankie Edgar. One of the things about Aldo, whether he got a little too comfortable, he wanted to make sure he protected his title. When he's got into the UFC, his fights have all gone to decision. Got it. But I got to tell you, man, this might be the fight where Aldo, I look at Aldo, the reason he's gone to decision is because he knows he's so much better than the guys he's facing, that it's like, all right, like I'm going to fight you. All right. He never really had that anger, that motivation to say, I need to prove something against this guy. He just knew, I'll beat Kenny Florian. I'll beat Frankie.
Let me ask you a question.
But against Conor, that anger and that rage that Conor's brought out of him, I mean, it could backfire. But I just think we're going to see an Aldo we have not seen since the WEC days, and that's scary.
But let me ask you a question here, Klein. You say anger, and I know I'm so much better than these guys. My viewpoint's a little different. Let me see what you think about this. The way I look at it, it isn't anger or, oh, I'm so much better, because the UFC guys are better than the WC guys.
Yeah.
Do you think it's in WC he was hungry, in UFC he isn't hungry? And that's the difference of the WC Aldo and UFC Aldo.
Well, see, that's what I mean by when he got to the UFC, he wanted to protect his title run. Almost in a sense like GSP. He didn't want to take risks. He didn't want to get caught by a submission or a flash punch. He wanted to make sure that he got the win.
So he's protecting legacy.
Yeah, so he's like, if you listen to Aldo, when he does the embed, he talks about a legacy. Yeah, he talks about he will not fight injured. He will not fight for money. He fights for, when he walks away, he wants to be looked at as on the Mount Rushmore of MMA fighters, which hell, every fighter should look forward to. So that's Aldo's mindset, is that he wants to be great when he walks away, and that's all fine and dandy. But I gotta say, what you guys were saying about McGregor, and people are saying, oh, I hope he gets his mouth shut by this guy. He talks, he's so disrespectful. In a different sport, there was this guy back in the day, I think it was, I want to say maybe the 50s and 60s, a little bit into the 70s. There was some guy, can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but he was known to be talking brash, talked to Sonny Liston when he was an unknown guy. Who's this young guy named Cassius Clay talking about Sonny Liston? That's Sonny Liston. Beat him twice. He talked about Joe Frazier. He talked about Ken Norton. He talked about George Foreman. He kind of was saying all the same stuff that McGregor's saying now. He just didn't have Twitter, Vine, and YouTube all back then. And I think we all call him the GOAT in Muhammad Ali. So I'm not trying to put him on the same pedestal. But for all the fans out there, stop acting like McGregor's the only guy that's ever talked shit before in a fight. Because the greatest fighter we all acknowledge in boxing, Muhammad Ali, did the same exact shit.
Jack Johnson did.
Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion. So I love Conor McGregor being, in a way, he's kind of showing everybody, you want to make money, you want to get the cars, the big fights, all these other fighters, Kevin Lee's, the Dustin Poiriers, all these other fighters underneath that say, I should be up there, say you shouldn't get this, pay you shouldn't get that, do what Conor's doing.
Here's
I'm
the
gonna
thing, why
whoop your ass and go out there and do it.
I don't understand. First of all, everybody gonna be like, this is martial arts, it's all about respect, bro. You gotta bow, bro, you know what I mean? You gotta bow, bro, you gotta bow, you gotta respect.
You gotta be humble when you go in there.
This is a fucking fight.
It's a fight.
It's a fight. Let's just cut the bullshit. It's a fight.
It is a fight.
I ain't never gotten in a street fight and be like, bro, let's, let's shake hands. Let's just like, everybody's like, bro, we didn't touch gloves. Oh my God. You know what I
That's
mean?
the stupidest fucking thing
If
I've
you
ever heard.
touch gloves, if you don't want to touch gloves, you don't touch gloves. I believe one thing I do absolutely believe is when you beat somebody, you don't run around talking shit. That could be you the next match. It could be your boy the next match. If you got a kid, it could be your kid the next match. That person could be seriously hurt. You never know. You could be the first person to kill somebody in the UFC.
Yeah.
You chill. You sit the fuck back. You take your victory. Because at the same time, I believe in energy. You're gaining something from that person's loss. You don't sit there and celebrate the loss of somebody. I just don't. That's just the way I feel about it. But touching the glove and all that at the beginning, or touching the glove in the match, you do whatever the fuck is comfortable for you.
Fanboys out there, I'm talking to the fanboys out there real quick. All of you that say, oh, you gotta be humble, that's why you touch gloves and whatnot. How many damn fights have people touched gloves and they still got their asses whipped? Touching gloves does not mean you win or lose. There wasn't this energy of, oh, this person's gonna win. Oh, they didn't touch gloves, now I'm going over to this person. Shut the fuck up with that.
Let me ask something on. Mo, homie James Shaney went to touch gloves in the fight and got overhand righted and got his eye punched. I got hit one time, folks, my last match in Pancrase, and it was when I went to touch gloves with the dude in the third round. He hit me with a left straight, and I'm like, really, dude? Come on. So touching gloves could get you, they be trying to, man, you know what I mean? They shook.
They do try to
scared
slip
to
it
death,
in.
scared to look, they shook, man. Niggas halfway crooks. These dudes cowards out here, man. If you don't want to, I might not even touch gloves. You know what Conor said it? I like it. I might start doing what he do. He said, I touch gloves and the ref houses together. I don't touch gloves when the match starts.
No.
And now I'm feeling that way. Because dude punched me, I'm like, I could have came out and not punched.
Protect yourself at all times.
There you go.
End of story.
There you go.
But to get on Aldo, because we're not talking about him, here's the thing I feel about Aldo. The leg kicks, destructive. But at the same time I talk about him, I have to talk about Conor because Conor does check kicks. If you watch one of his own matches, he broke a dude's leg from checking it. But all those leg kicks, he doesn't check it. It just whips out. You don't even see it. And
McGregor has that wide stance where his front leg is out there. So if he hasn't corrected that or learned how to
he's whatever, southpaw.
Dude,
the Aldo is right leg. If you watch what he did to Kenny Florian,
yeah.
He destroyed
you saw how
the
he knocked fucking Frankie Edgar off his feet with a leg kick.
He destroyed the inside leg. So Conor has to look out for that. And as a southpaw, it's harder to check that from that stance, actually.
Because of where it's coming from.
And then another thing is, I feel like forward motion as far as sheer attack speed in motion, big favoritism to Jose Aldo. I feel like if these two are directly in front of each other and moving, Jose is the one that can attack first every time. You know, he's explosive like that. And I don't feel there's any chance in fucking hell. Let's say Conor got in trouble, he's taking Jose down. Even Chad Mendez can't get this guy down, you know?
I don't think Conor's going to be looking for a takedown.
Here's a part that's interesting to me. I feel like Jose, we are going to see WC Jose Aldo. But if we see WC Jose Aldo in aggression and stand up, I feel that's going to be a demise versus Conor.
It could be.
But if Jose utilizes his ground game, I think he'll eat him up. Because I never forget when he fought Alexander Franca Pequeno Nogueira, a fucking monster at the time, the creator of the 10-finger guillotine choke, great jiu-jitsu black belt. First WC match, and he got him on the ground, and it looked like Pequeno was a white belt. I was like, what the fuck am I? And I already knew who Jose was, but I didn't even know his jiu-jitsu was that level. And I feel like if he
but that was
gets
so
him down,
long ago, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
like I get that he did that, but that was so
better.
Yeah, no, it could have only gotten better, but at the same time, I'm also a big believer in whatever you are going to put in a fight at some point in time, it's going to show. If you're this good at jiu-jitsu, at some point in time, you're going to be a fight where it shows. Hell, we never saw Anderson Silva do many submissions. He took on Chael Sonnen. We saw that, hey, he got some submissions. We got that. When he took on, not named Corey, but, not named Mark Corey, but he took on, I forgot the guy. He missed weight. Travis Lutter.
Yeah.
Did the same thing. Submissions, elbow, and takedown. So at some point in time, even if if that's not in your arsenal, at some point in time, you're going to be in a position where that will come out. I just don't, it could, but I don't think McGregor's going to take him down, and I don't think Aldo's going to take Conor down like everyone thinks, Aldo's with his wrestling and this and that. No, I don't think so, but I don't think it's going to come to fruition that his jiu-jitsu is going to play a part in it.
It's up to him, though.
It's up to him.
Here's the thing. He has such good takedown defense. Nobody could get him down.
McGregor's not going to look for the takedown.
But the thing is, he's doing what I like to do in fights. I'm good at jiu-jitsu, but I'm hard to take down. So my first line of offense is my boxing. And I'm like, if nobody can get past my boxing, I'm not going to use anything else. But when I fought this one guy, this kickboxer guy, Zach and Gojo, I was like, why am I going to play this game? And I know this guy's bad on the ground. And I took him down and I whooped his ass. So maybe this might just make Aldo go to another element.
I think Aldo's going to improve his thing.
That's what I'm saying. If he wants to.
Based on what you said about Jose Aldo, he's all about the legacy. He wants to protect the legacy.
Yeah.
So if that's the mindset, Don might be right.
That might be what makes him take him to the ground.
He's all about the legacy.
No, remember his interview? Now I think about it, you're right. Because you said the legacy, and he is good at jiu-jitsu. He had an interview saying that when he fought Chad Mendes, they saw his weakness. Why is that the fight? If you think about it, that's the only fight he's been on his back.
Right. And
he said, his team is saying, we saw his weakness in that fight. So that means you have to speculate they're looking at him on his back.
You know what another one could have been? Another weakness they could have saw?
What's that?
Could have been that they saw Mendes could hit this guy. And Mendes ain't nowhere fast as Aldo is. When McGregor comes in, if Mendes doesn't back up and stays in the pocket, he's firing that right hand. Aldo might be looking to say, every time, I'm not going to back up and circle away like most people try to do. I'm going to stay right there, back up, and when he comes in, that's when I'm going to come forward with a right, and I'm going to tag his ass. It could have been that as well, because McGregor took quite a few shots from Mendes standing up, but he shrugged them off. But Spill, finish saying what you were saying.
Yeah, but do you think Aldo will be able to take Conor down easily if he wants to?
I don't think
I remember.
I mean, because Conor's got good takedown defense, and he's constantly moving and circling, and he's not as we were talking about earlier. He's not going to stand in front of you. So
no, a lot of people say he don't got good takedown defense.
Because I noticed when he fought Mark Hominick, of course he doesn't move as much as Conor. He has almost like his athleticism. It didn't look like a technical takedown, but his athleticism, it looked like a football tackle. It was like 1 minute he was standing still, next minute he was right through him and took him down. And I think somebody that athletic, and when you could just go from 0 to 100 real quick, like motherfucking Drake, he might surprise him with that and get him down.
Dude, I would be in complete shock if Aldo goes for it and gets a takedown. Because at the same time, people talk about, McGregor's weakness was being taken down. You gotta remember, he had 2 weeks to prepare on a bad knee for the best wrestler in the division. And not to forget, he got taken down 4 times. He stuffed 3 other takedowns as well. So if there were 7, he's almost at 50% for the takedown. So it's not that bad.
What a tour knee.
Exactly. And he's the best wrestler in the division, where Aldo is nowhere close to that. But now we're talking about all the things going into it. Let me ask you guys this. The trash talking that's going on between these two, who do you think it favors in this matchup going in? Does it favor McGregor for everything that he said about Aldo, because maybe he's gotten inside Aldo's head, or has it kind of favored Aldo because now the pressure's on McGregor to back it up, and Aldo's just like he's been saying, you the Joker, I'm gonna prove it to you.
You know what?
What do you guys think?
I will tell you, I thought, in my mind, I was 1,000% sure it favored Conor. That's just what he does.
Yeah.
And I could see during that tour, Aldo, he was getting angrier and angrier and angrier. He was getting emotionally invested in it. But I never forget, it's this one scene that the UFC made famous when he's talking shit to him in the crowd, and Jose's sitting there laughing and stuff, and then they pull him away, and he's just sitting there, and the smirk goes away. And he looks at the camera. The look in his eyes.
Yeah.
That was for real.
Killer.
That was for real, dude.
Killer.
Because he had to smirk the whole time, kind of like he was putting on the front for the people.
Yeah.
And when they pulled him away, and he thought the camera wasn't on him, and that smirk left, and he was just staring down and looked, but the camera happened to be there. That motherfucker looked like a serial
When he
killer,
gave
dog.
that look, in my mind, I said,
From the favela, man.
You see, that's
what came out. It's like dudes they talking about. It's like dudes they talking about. The hood came out right there.
He got some bodies on his ass.
Yeah.
Look. He didn't get that scar from his sister.
Yeah.
He got that because he gave somebody else that look, and he had a fucking machete when he came to collect. That son of a bitch looked like a goddamn killer.
Yeah, that was some doomsday stuff. Like,
Yeah,
that thing
man.
from the hood,
Yeah.
and the nigga come out of you. That's what that was. I was like, dude, because when I looked at it, I said, hey, wait a minute. Maybe that trash step, maybe you.
But do you also remember? Do you remember before that when Aldo fought Mendez in Brazil and Conor was in the crowd? I'm not sure when this happened, but there's a clip where Aldo says, in Brazilian, obviously, in Portuguese, where he says, you know, I'm the king, that's the Joker. And like I said, I don't know if they just edited it that way or if it really happened. When he says that, McGregor ain't smiling either. He gives that look. And to look up and say, who the fuck you calling a Joker? So I mean, these guys, all the talking, all the trash, these guys come from places where fighting is in their blood and that's what they do. And now I'm gonna ask you guys, as we're starting to wind down here on 3 Straight G's MMA podcast, let's start talking about predictions and how this is gonna go. Who we think is gonna come out
Why is everybody
the
looking at
victor.
me?
Well, I'm just looking to my left because no one's on my right, so.
Yeah. McGregor.
Why?
And how?
Just the counter striking. I don't think it's going to be easy for Aldo to get him down. And like you were saying, that those lapses in judgment. Now, obviously he's going to be on point for this one. This is high stakes. But I think McGregor will find that opening somewhere in the fight. And I think he's got enough skills as far as footwork and as far as takedown defense and counter punching to stay out of trouble till he finds that moment. And the thing about McGregor that is once he gets that little chip, it's like the fucking crack in the dam. He finds it and then it's like, oh, there it is. And then boom, he goes in for it immediately.
Spot on, man.
So,
spot on.
What about you?
Not that Aldo's not aggressive and dangerous, you know, in his own right, but he doesn't have that thing that Conor has where he like finds that, oh, there's the way in. Like the fucking, like Star Wars, the missile has to go right in that vent in the Death Star.
No, man, you're right. Obviously, in sport of MMA, forearms, gloves, flash punch, anything could happen with either one of these guys with a quick one. If I can make a quick reference, there was a Brazilian who was looked at as the GOAT, best of all time, dominated everyone he took on. And he took on a young up-and-coming guy, and not many people, fans that is, picked this young guy. Some experts did, and well, the guy beat him twice. He dethroned him, and now he's the current middleweight champion. That same guy also fought another legend, beat him up pretty bad in a 5-round war in his second title defense, and Machida ain't looked right since. So when I look at this last fight that Aldo had against Mendez, I've never seen Aldo take so much punishment. Now granted, it was her second time fighting. Mendez is a hell of a fighter, but dude, he tagged Aldo a lot. Now granted, it could have been maybe Aldo wasn't expecting his hands to be that good. Okay, man, he's a wrestler. You just didn't expect a stand-up war. But I just think, man, as long as Aldo's been on the sidelines, the beating he took in that one, and just like it says, and I'm not buying into the hype, I just think matchup-wise, this is kind of bad for Aldo because he's got someone who could take punches, who comes forward, who takes angles, doesn't rush his attacks, and he's very accurate with his punches. And like you said, when he finds the one shot, whether it's a straight left, a right hook to the body, a kick, and he sees you kind of flinch a little, gotcha.
And he's fucking great at using that front kick as like a jab.
Exactly.
Keeping people at bay.
And he whipped it out there instead of pushing it so that it's hard for you to grab his foot when it tries to retreat. I think we're kind of going to see what Conor's done to several guys, especially Mendez. He's going to tag him a couple times, and what's going to happen is there's going to be a straight left while Aldo is against the cage, circling to his left, which will be McGregor's right. McGregor's going to land that straight left, is going to startle Aldo, and I think Aldo might hit the canvas, and McGregor might go in for the kill. I think McGregor's taking this, but again, it's not because of that. I just think matchups make fights, and I think this is one of those matchups like Wyman and Silva. McGregor just might have his card. Hopefully this leads to a trilogy down the line.
Plus, the guy's fucking psychic, and he said he would win.
He is psychic, so I mean, how can you go against him when he's so far been perfect in the UFC? So I got McGregor in this one.
You know what? I love Jose Aldo.
Yeah, I love the dude.
But I've always had McGregor as the guy that would beat him, and here's why. You have a guy with linear movement. He moves left and right. He takes angles. Jose Aldo, if you look, he's front to back. He can go backwards fast and forward fast. That's number one. Number two, if you look at the way Jose is, he's one punch, one kick, two punches, one kick, or three punches, one kick, offensively. If you look at him defensively, and to bring up the Chad Mendes fight, he will dodge by swiveling his head to the left or to the right. And if you look at why Chad Mendes was tagging him, he would either not move his head, sometimes he doesn't move it, and he would get hit with two punches, or he would dodge a punch and the follow-up punch would hit him because his head goes off center and back, off center and back. And if you know about boxing,
knocked him down.
you know you aren't supposed to always just go off center and back. You have to switch it up. Sometimes you could go off center and down. Sometimes you could go off center and stay off center and cut an angle. He doesn't have that. And if you look at the difference, you have a guy with Mendes, he was using 1 to 2 punches only and tagging him. McGregor uses 3, 4, 5, 6. A high volume puncher, and they're accurate, and unlike Nick or Nate Diaz, they have power behind them.
Yeah.
So you have and that's a rare thing. Usually high volume people have low power.
Yeah.
High power people have low volume. Just like myself, my coach was like, you need to punch more. I have low volume because I know each punch does damage. You usually don't get both. And that's one rarity I've seen in this guy. He has both, a very high volume and very high power, plus the accuracy. And I remember while you guys were talking something, this was after he fought Frankie Edgar, I think it was. I saw an interview with Conor McGregor, and he was like, I butchered this guy. He was like, if you look at all of his fights lately, he's held on wheels the first 2 rounds, and then he takes his foot off the gas pedal, and he coasts through the next 3 rounds and almost loses them, and he's taking shots and all this. He was like, I press down harder on the pedal as the rounds go on. And it's true. If you look at his fights, he starts to take more damage as the fight goes on and gets slow as the fight goes on, and Conor just goes and goes. You see how fast he got up after the Chad Mendes elbowed him and stuff after the first round. And he's like, come on, bitch.
Yeah,
you know, like, come on, that's all you got, motherfucker. And he just goes, dude. And it's just, stylistically, I feel like it's a bad match unless Jose Aldo cut his ego, realized this with his camp. If his camp was honest with him, they had him work a lot of wrestling here, because I truly believe he has a much, much, much better jiu-jitsu game. And that's where he will win. But me thinking about it, I don't think he's going to go that route, and that will be his downfall. Not even because he can't win, but because he's not going to play his cards right. So I have the notorious one.
I'll tell you what, man. I hope this is a
Who's the favorite odds-wise?
McGregor.
I think he's a plus. I don't know, a minus 150 or plus 150.
I think it's minus.
Or 110 now.
He's 110.
I think it's 110 when we checked earlier. It might be different, but I hope this is a 5-round. I hope this is the first. Hope it's like Ward guy.
He said he's getting him out of there in the second.
He did say second round he's gonna get him out of this. So
I
I'm
have
gonna
a
be
feeling he
interested.
might get him out there in the
That might
I have
be
a feeling
the
he's
ego
going to finish
in the
him.
third.
I think it's
might
going to
be.
be there too.
It might.
I think he's going to actually finish him though. I think he is going to finish him.
We shall see.
But we hope you guys enjoy it, folks. That's the Go Big
And we all agree.
3 Straight G's segment. Let them know where to reach you at.
You guys can find my sports page, All Things Sports on Facebook. That's All Things Sports. Twitter and Instagram, KLUA11. That's KLUA11. Snapchat, Bay Area 11. Bay Area 11. Get at me.
Spill Bag of Ice on Twitter, Instagram. Carlos B. Dog on the Twitter.
The best on the panel right there.
he predicted everything. He didn't even say anything. He just knows the outcome for us. At Fallen Angel 510, Twitter, Instagram, therealfallenangel.com. Check out all my interviews, all the 3 straight G's, my script, Land of Forgotten Graves, pilot for a TV show, videos of my fights, everything you want is on there. Every way to contact me or my management team. Crystal_Galasso, my nutritionist. If you're in Vegas, hit her up for meal plans, online, offline, back line, dark line, X line, triple X line, everything. She just make any kind of food that you want, get me in shape, because I'm fat, I'm greedy, you guys. You know, Goon Mama Treat Viegas, Goon Squad _HBIC. You know, find her on my contact page. If you guys want to get spilled on anything, you know, you want to get Kalani on anything, all 3 of us, or if you want to get on a Trill Talk segment, or you know, let her know, we'll get you on. You can find all the info about all of us in the description of this video. And I want to thank Palmer Electric, Fight Live TV. You can also find this on there. My boy Dr. Dumbler, Beyond Beauty by Kim. And hey, we always looking for more sponsors, man.
Hey.
And if anybody want to pick us up, you know, any of you guys out there, we got the best podcast going.
Sirius XM Radio, give us a holler.